What's up, everybody, and welcome back to A Beer a Day with TK. It's a beautiful fall evening here in Findlay, Ohio, and the Ginger Yeti is in the house. What is going on, my brother?
Finally made it back.
He made it back from Europe safely. They lost one of his bags on the way.
God, that was a nightmare. Eurowings sucks.
But when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. He bought another bag, filled it with beer, and bought it back. Brilliant move, my brother.
I did. 35 euro bag to bring beers back.
Would you have to pay $100? Or you already paid for the bag, I guess, right? Since
Bags
you
are
lost
free.
your second one. There you go.
The bag is just free on the airline. It was just I had to pay $35 to buy a suitcase.
That's a good deal. My son is in Austria. I'm going to pay for another bag and have him buy one and fill it up with Austrian beer. I think that's the game plan. So, we have a new beer today, and this one was sent to us by our good friend Josh Ellis, the Malted Gentleman. So if you haven't checked out his channel, I'll throw the logo up here, and down in the description I'll put a link. Josh is actually one of the first people I met when I started doing this.
Really?
Yeah, I think Greg Buhlman from Buhlman's Beer Reviews was probably the first dude who was cool as shit and reached out and was like talking to me and nice. And I think Josh was probably second. I think I met him really early. And Anderson actually met him out in Iowa this summer, right? You were out on tour and met up with him in Iowa. And I think we did a review and talked about that previously.
We did, but he's a great dude. I mean, it was a lot of fun hanging out with him. Not like I said before, no weirdness at all. We sat down, started drinking beers, and next thing you know, the bar was closing. I'm like, the brewery was closing. I'm like, what happened?
And he sent us a bunch of these beers from Iowa, man. So he sent 2 of each, which is cool. So we don't have to share cans. We can actually each try one. And the first one we're going to do, I'm not going to do them all, but I'll do a couple of them, is Hold My Pretzel. And this is a Festbier. Now, I'm a big fan of Festbiers generally. How about you?
Oh, yeah. As long as they're done well.
I agree.
But I guess that's with every beer. If it's done well, I'm a fan of it.
Well, you know what's funny? I mean, a couple of years ago, if you asked me what's the difference between a Festbier and a Marzen or a Märzen, so some folks don't get bent out of shape about pronunciation, I would have said they're the same thing. Now, clearly, they're different. And at least in America, the Marzens tend to be more caramel colored, different kind of beer. These tend to be lighter, a little crisper, more like a nice, like a session brew. Those are more caramelly, not higher ABV necessarily, but I think the caramel kind of hits you a little bit harder, and they're different things. So I'm kind of excited to try this. We got a little blurb on the side of this one. It says, golden in color and pleasantly sweet. Our German-inspired celebratory lager features distinct notes of honey, alongside subtle hints of floral and spice. So good, you might need one in each hand, which means sometimes you'll have to wait for it. Hold your pretzel. So, this one here is 5.9% ABV, 24 IBUs, and this comes to us from SingleSpeed Brewing out of Waterloo, Iowa. Now, I certainly don't see any Iowa beers on the shelves here, so I'm thrilled to be able to try this. Actually, is Toppling Goliath from Iowa? Where are they from?
Yeah, Toppling Goliath is.
Then that might be it. That's probably the only Iowa one that I ever
Because
saw.
I remember I was in a bar, and I was just like, hey, give me something local. And it was Pseudo Sue or something. I'm
that
like,
you can find everywhere.
damn it. Yeah.
It's probably like if you get, an Ohio beer and it's Great Lakes, you're like,
Right, exactly. It's exactly what it was like.
All right, so let's give this a shot, man. Like I said, Waterloo, Iowa. Ratings-wise, does pretty good. Untappd, 3.75. Now, there was only 776 check-ins. And Beer Advocate was an NA. Ooh, look at that. It's got a nice color.
I do want to give a kudos or shout out or whatever to this brewery, because on the can, the writing is real easy, almost like Times New Roman font.
Yeah.
But it's black writing on a plain yellow can, super easy to read, so you actually know what you're trying to read there.
I'm going to say this as a college professor. If anybody uses a font other than Times New Roman, my brain hurts.
What about Courier?
I hate it. Back in the day when I went to school, though, you had to use 12-point Times New Roman, and that was it. If you deviated, that was your ass, dude. So I don't like any other fonts but that. So kudos to these guys. I can read your label, my friend. That's a beautiful thing. This is a nice-looking beer, man.
You might get a thumbs up just for being able to read the label.
Yeah. So, first things first, so look at this. It's strange. I thought it was going to be, you could see right through it, but it's not. It is a little bit cloudy.
No, you definitely can't see through it, but it looks like you should be able to.
Yeah, when I saw it down here, I thought, it's going to be crystal clear. And then when I held it up, not the case. Color-wise, it's very light. I would say
It's kind of deceiving.
maybe like a 5-ish. Look, ironically, it says pale gold Marzen. Probably like a 5 maybe, like pale gold.
I think you have pale gold Marzen pointing at the 4.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know, dude. This is my Brew HQ SRM chart. that has had 7,000 beers spilled on it and stuff all over
But it's
it.
kind of deceiving because when it's just sitting here at the table, it looks almost like a macro light beer.
Yeah, and then when you hold it
But then
up,
when you hold it up, it gets
cloudy, fair amount of carbonation.
cloudy, but the coloring becomes a little lighter.
The other funny thing is if you look to either side, you can see the fine bubbles, but when it's right in front of your face, you can't. But as you spit it, you see them all going up there like little fine champagne bubbles. The head was a nice finger's worth, at least white frothy head. It's kind of subsided as we've been talking a little bit, but good looking beer, man. Let's give it a sniff.
I'm not picking up much.
No, maybe like a light bready thing. I'm not actually picking up a bit. I was hoping for some floral notes from what it said on the can, but it just smells like a light bready kind of smell to me.
I just stuck my nose in it.
I just got done being sick. I haven't really had many beers or done anything, so my sinuses are completely clear. I can actually smell wonderfully.
And now you're sniffing a beer that has no scent.
Which makes me think, do I have long COVID? What's happening there? Yeah, I mean, I'd just say like a light bready note. It's not a heck of a lot going on nose-wise, but not offensive, works for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
It almost has the smell of, like when we had that the advent calendar with all those, it was the advent calendar of like 24 different Helles lagers,
Yes.
essentially. It's got that like Helles lager smell minus the floral bit, so smells nice. Ready to give it a shot?
Yeah.
Prost, brother, prost. Hold my pretzel.
Thanks, Josh.
Pretty light bodied. I'd say medium light, right on the cusp there. Very crisp. I think that's the first thing I noticed on that one, man. Really
Yeah,
crisp.
really.
You get that nice little bite there, and I think it is like it says. I think it said it was floral or whatever. It's not a big hot bite, but it's like a slightly floral bite. Well, you know what? As it sits on the palate there, it gets a little more bitter, like the back of your palate. I'm picking it up a little bit more,
But not in a bad way.
no, in a nice way, in like a nice light bittering flavor. I kind of like it. Roxy scaring away all the neighbors out here in case their dogs is tripping and think they can just come up into my yard. You can't come in this yard. My boxer will scare you away. She won't fight you, but she'll scare you by her borks.
Or she'll headbutt you to death.
Yeah, dude. She comes and jumped up on my bed and jumped on my throat and like stabbed me the other day. She likes to wake me up. Flavors, I would say maybe like a light bready malt. Slight bit of honey. It said honey. I don't think the honey's big.
No, not at all. But
it's almost like maybe like a honey wheat bread, which I quite like. It's like a light bready malt, bit of honey, and then you get that nice crispness to it, like a lot of the proper German beers.
I think it's a good description, the honey wheat bread.
Yeah.
Honey wheat bread's like
And that's kind
spot
of
on.
it. And that's kind of it. It's not all kinds of crazy things, not multiple layers of depth. Light honey wheat bread, and then like a nice bitterness. So for me, this is a winner. And the other kind of surprising thing is 5.9% ABV. I think this tastes lighter.
It definitely does.
It tastes more like a lighter session brew, and 5.9 is pretty decent ABV.
And you do get a little bit of that bitterness in the back end, but it is welcoming. It's nice.
Yeah. You know what, man? Bitterness, when used properly, is magnificent. If it's just like bitter, like choking to death with bitterness, not for me. This is exactly what I'd like. And it does remind me a lot of the German Festbiers that we've had in some of the boxes or other things throughout the years. It's that crispness. I think that's the difference. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like a lot of them are just like the sweet bit, but you lose the bitterness, and I think this nails both. So for me, big W, SingleSpeed Brewing. You knocked it out of the park with Hold My Pretzel. Now I wish I had a damn pretzel. I do. I had some from Philly, but I ate them all during the World Series because I was convinced they were good luck. Or not the World Series, the NLCS. I was convinced they were good luck, and they apparently weren't because we lost. So.
Yeah, so Hold My Pretzel, yeah, I mean, really nice, crisp beer, really clean. I'm glad something just flew into the beer and is now floating in my beer.
These little things that look like ladybugs are flying around, but they're beetles, apparently.
I don't even know what that was.
They look like ladybugs, but they're like brown instead of orange.
Or something fell from the ceiling into it. Either way,
It could be that.
it's a really nice beer. I mean, you get hops used the proper way in this kind of beer, where you got the nice bitterness, but not overpowering. And then it is a real nice, crisp beer. And again, of course, you can read the can.
Yeah.
So I'd give it a big thumbs up as well.
Yeah, man. Awesome beer. Josh, thanks for the hookup, my brother. Really appreciate these. We're going to send some beers out your way soon as well. I got a bunch of stuff I got to mail out, so we'll send you some beers. Appreciate the hookup. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up. Hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this, please hit subscribe. And as always, you got any comments or questions, jump in down below. Are you in the great state of Iowa? Have you had Hold My Pretzel? Let me know what you think about it, man. Hey, till next time.
Cheers.